Good morning. You're watching the Business Portal, your gateway to business trends and opportunities. My name is Boom San Agustin, and this is SME Forum. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to SME Forum. Again, with me is Alvin Tan.
Hi.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Yeah, what's our topic today?
Oh, today's about investing in the stock market.
Investing in the stock market, particularly about SMEs and the stock market. Okay, and of course, I'm sure you're wondering, first of all, what the stock market will do for you, and second, what are the advantages of being an SME and entering into the stock market. All right, so we have two guests here that I think can clarify some points for us. This first guest, I will introduce him first because you already saw him this morning.
He looks very familiar.
Yeah, he looks familiar, right?
I'm not sure where I saw him.
Oh, okay, no, this morning.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this morning.
Like
I
5 minutes
think
ago.
he has a show here. I'm not sure, really. Let's all welcome the Mr. Aya Laraya.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, now I'm on the other side of the conversation. I know you just saw me about a few minutes ago hosting Stocks
Really?
in Focus. So now I'm here because, like Boom has said, that we will be discussing SMEs and their function in the market, what the market can do for SMEs, and what SMEs can do for the market as well.
All right, okay. And our next host, right. These are not our hosts, right? We're all four hosts here. All right. Our next guest is a registered financial planner, just like Aya here, except that Aya owns a company already very big, and yes, we bow to you. All right, Mr. Kendrick Chua. Kendrick?
Yes, good morning to all the viewers. Thank you, Boom and Alvin, for having me here, and I hope to enlighten the viewers on regarding investing in the stock market.
Cool. All right. So it's every time we have a replay before the next show, I always seem to stutter a lot. But don't worry, Alvin is here to cover for me, right?
I will stutter as well. So
You will stutter.
So don't feel alone.
Okay, right. Now, the stock market. Before we get to the stock market, let's ask our guests exactly what they do. Let's start with Kendrick. Kendrick, can you explain to me what the registered financial planner does?
Well, basically, we handle the personal finance of an individual. Okay, just like my title is a personal finance advisor. So I guide my clients through their cash flows, insurance, and investments. Then we work plan for them to achieve their financial objectives. Because we don't like shooting from the hips. We need to have a clear picture of their current financial conditions, and we work it from there.
Oh, okay. So I just like to ask. So you do this on a personal level for individuals?
Yes, that's right.
All right. So let's go to Aya. Aya, how about you? What everything you do? I mean, you do a lot, right? Okay.
Yeah, I pretty much do quite a number of things, but aside from hosting the show, but the main thing I do is I actually teach. My firm, Global Investor Center, what we do is we teach people what to do with their money and how the different options that are available, how they work and what they're for. And we don't sell any of them, by the way. So just this past Saturday, we actually had a half-day seminar wherein the attendees were taught the differences between stocks, mutual funds, insurance, pre-need, real estate investments, all of those things, so that they have at least a working knowledge, so that the next time they get a proposal from someone, they can at least make an educated decision on whether it is suited for their needs or not. Because what we do at Global Investor Center is we really want to increase the financial literacy of people, just to avoid them from getting scammed, because I'm sure years ago there were quite a number, and you can expect more in the years to come. So we just try and help people figure out on their own what it is that they can actually get into in order to achieve the goals that Kendrick has said. We just try to do it in such a way that they can do it by themselves. We want to teach them how to approach these things safely so that the pain of all of the losses is minimized at the very least.
Pain. Okay. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to. I was you invited me to that seminar last Saturday, but I had team building Friday and
it's
Saturday,
okay.
and it was.
We'll probably have another one in January anyway. So
Oh, great.
maybe you
Okay,
can
I'm
attend
on
that.
it, so I'll be watching. This time I won't be talking. I'll just be watching. I'll do all the talking, right? All right. Okay, so let's see. Before we move further, I'd just like to ask, how did you get started, Kendrick, in what you do?
Okay. Well, I got bored with my previous employment.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good, right?
And at the same time, 5 years ago, I tried my hands in investing because I realized that bank deposits would not really provide a lucrative returns for my money. So I thought of investing. And from there, I started with pooled funds. Okay, and from there, I began to get a better picture and appreciation of the financial environment. And so I decided I want to join the industry. And that's where 4 years ago, 5 years later, I'm here now.
And you took all the seminars in between, right?
Yes, I also attended the Global Investor Center.
Wow.
Seminars of Global Investor Center.
You did?
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
you did.
Several of them.
Ahead of us.
He's your student?
No, not me. It was one of
Unfortunately,
my.
I did not
One
have
of my.
him.
It was my partner
Speakers.
who conducted the seminar that he attended.
Okay, before we get to Aya, let's just remind them there's a number they can call, right?
Oh yeah. There's in case you have questions or comments, send them over to 0932 217 575. Is that 9?
Yeah, 9.
9, all right. Anyways, right here. And please indicate your name and location so we can acknowledge you.
Yeah,
Acknowledge
acknowledge
properly.
and accommodate
Yeah.
and all those stuff, right?
Send
All
them
the
over.
A's, right? All the A's, right? Okay, so let's go to Aya. Aya, how did you get started?
Well, I've been in the finance industry for about 24 years now, and
Okay.
Compute.
24 years now. So,
You don't look 24 years old.
but one thing I have seen is that in the Philippines, people really do not have a resource to ask questions. Like, let's say you have a limited amount of money, let's say 50,000, 100,000. What do you do with it? Who would you ask to be able to find out what is best suited for you? Quite often, you end up buying something depending on who the best salesperson you talk to.
Yes,
And it may not be the most suitable instrument for you because there is a conflict of interest there. So what I decided to do, and the reason I joined GIC and partnered with a few other people, is exactly to address that. I mean, we want to become the place where if you have that question in your mind, regardless of the amount, and you want to find out, okay, what is the best thing or the most suitable thing out there for me, then that is what we do. I mean, we do teach them and we help people answer that question, what do I do with my money?
That's interesting. Remember, Alvin, in our last show, somebody asked, it was about franchising.
Yeah.
And somebody asked that if he had like 100,000 right now, our guests then and us as well, we discouraged him from getting a franchise if he only had 100,000. Okay, but you're saying right now that there are instruments like the stock market, for instance, or other instruments that they can get into while they're growing their money.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
just a quick example. 5 years ago, this is one of my favorite cases. 5 years ago, for just 50,000 pesos, the Ayala Corporation issued what were known as preferred shares, and the effect being that every year for 5 years they would pay you 9.5%. And the only risk being that within 5 years, Ayala Corporation would go bankrupt.
All right.
So,
Not likely.
if, very unlikely. I mean, possible. It's in the realm of possibility if you're just talking pure possibility, but extremely unlikely.
Yeah.
So, if you had 50,000 at that point, what were your options? I mean, normally you would put it in a time deposit or a savings account. You'd make less than 3% definitely over the past 5 years. Whereas there was that option, if you knew about it, for 50,000, Ayala Corporation is promising to pay you 9.5% a year. And you can liquidate at any point in time, and they will pay you back your 50,000 next year, since it was done in 2006, I believe. So it'll be due next year. So for the past 5 years, at the very least, you could have been making 9.5% versus whatever it was you did. So again, for someone who does not have a lot of time, that was a great deal because
Yeah.
5 years, and then if you wanted to liquidate, you could have liquidated in the market. You would not have suffered any penalty or anything. All of your interest would have been paid to you as well. So things like that. We help people figure things like that out. So that's pretty much
Speaking of
what we do.
Ayala, they have this in BPI right now. They have the same instrument, I think, but they're doing it through BPI right now.
Well, they have issued more of those types, but the interest rates have been lower.
A little, yeah, but it's still pretty big considering. Okay.
Yeah, considering.
I don't know why that is, but it's a good to look into. Anyway, from your standpoint, let's see. The same question. Like, I have 100,000 right now. I want to get. Most Filipinos will probably say, "I'm gonna get into business. Negosyo ako, negosyo." Okay. And then they end up getting a franchise or a stand or a push cart or whatever, right?
Ice
That's
scramble.
Or ice scramble.
Scramble.
Ice scramble. Let's not.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, anyway, all of that. Okay, so what would you advise, just in case? I mean, the advice of our former guests were to grow that money first before investing in a franchise. Would you give the same advice?
That's right. But it's easier said than done. We're talking about business. Of all of us, all Filipinos desire to, at one point in time, to be financially free. And for them, the way to do that, the way to achieve that, is to put up a business. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you, like you said, with 100,000, if unfortunately that business fails, you end up with nothing.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
But with a lot of investments options out there, just like what Aya had mentioned, you can actually grow that money exponentially and use whatever earnings you have from there, then invest that in a business. That way, your principal is still intact, and whatever happens, you still have a contingency of that 100,000.
But how many people actually invest? Let's say not just in the stock market, in the Philippines in general. How many people are investor-minded or investment-minded?
In terms of percentage, roughly.
Percentage, let's just cite a quick fact about the study by the Philippine Stock Exchange.
All right.
All right. They conducted a survey 2 years ago, 2008, wherein there's only 1/10 of 1% of the population,
0.01.
0.1%
Yeah,
of the
okay.
population who invests in the stock market.
Wow.
Okay, just imagine that. Relative to other Asian countries, Singapore has 33%, Korea has 10%, Hong Kong 17%. Ours is a very paltry figure. It's just, and despite all this advent of online trading, the market informations about it, a lot of the Filipinos are not aware of investing their money. They're still stuck to the idea of my money should be put in the bank for it to grow. And we should change that. That's where I came
This
in.
is the investment they know.
Yes, that's right. The investment, bank deposits. That's all. Because that's the traditional thinking.
Yeah. Put it in the bank, let it
Put
grow.
it in the bank, you can earn 3%. At the end of, I have 100,000. At the end of one, you have 3,000. Less tax, you have 2,000 something.
That's why we need your help, Kendrick.
Yes, I'd be
Wait,
glad to.
I'd just
Yeah.
like to ask Aya here, why do you think that is?
Well, two things. First and foremost is education. Financial literacy or financial awareness is hardly ever covered within our school's curricula. Most colleges, I'm sad to say, we produce employees more than anything. Most people will never see, unless you take business or finance as a subject, you will not see anything about a balance sheet, you will not see anything about a managed fund anywhere during your educational life. So once that happens, how else will it enter your consciousness? Now, in other countries, that is offset by the fact that there are institutions that pretty much make you part of the market. Like, let's say in the States, if part of your employment benefits is what they call the 401k, and most 401ks are invested in the market. So in a sense, you are forced to learn about it. Since it's part of the law, it's a benefit of yours. So you're forced to learn about it. If not at least the market, then managed funds, bonds, etc. Here, we don't have a structure like that. So once you start earning, it's pretty much up to you what you're going to do with your salary. But since
Beer and cigarettes.
well, yeah, but since you've never ever been taught to even think about these things, how would you even consider that? All you've heard, like you said, is put it in a bank, etc., etc. But investing, I mean, true investing or even true financial freedom can only be achieved by going beyond that. So that's really the issue, and that's really what we try to do in GIC. We really just want to educate people because that's where it starts.
Yeah.
I mean, how can we even think about the stock market if most people don't even know what it is, how it works, and what it can do for them? And even not just that, I mean, just other bank services. I mean, there are so many, like you said, BPI has other bank products that are not the traditional deposit types that do give higher returns that can give you more options with your money, just as long as you physically go out and ask about it.
Yes,
so,
yes, yes.
So it's
right
sometimes
within your reach, actually.
it's sometimes it's really just a matter of getting that brochure. But again, for some people, they look at the brochure,
They don't understand it.
all of the technical terms, APR, all of these things, it just shuts down.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So again, it's that resource. Okay, I'm interested, but who do I ask? And again, as Filipinos, the problem is you don't want to be pressured sometimes into buying something. Okay, so if I ask you, does that mean I have to buy from you now? What if I don't like what I heard? There is also that dynamic in there.
Okay.
Interesting fact. Yeah. Well, I understand that, Kendrick, you also invest in the stock market.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
Would you, to our viewers, would you recommend that our viewers at least explore the opportunities?
Yes,
of the
I
stock
would
market right
recommend. I would recommend they try investing in the stock market. Although there's this, I've written an article about the misconception of the stock market. The first thing that comes to the Filipino mind, that's gambling.
Sugal.
Sugal.
Ah,
That's
yeah,
gambling.
yeah.
But then again, if you look at it, everything's a gamble. When you put up a business,
It's a gamble.
it's a gamble. There's risk. If you invest in other real estate, that's also a gamble.
Exactly.
But somehow, stock market has that that image,
Yes.
that notoriety.
Yeah.
And so, but if you have that misconception, then you would not benefit from the bull run we're experiencing right now. And year to date, we have what, 30+% already? Versus what you can earn from banks of the 3%. That's 10 folds more than what you can earn.
Really?
Yes, that's right.
Wow. Okay.
And if you have
I better call my stockbroker.
and if you have bought select issues, like
Yeah.
one of my favorite stocks, which Alvin and I were discussing,
Which is?
Aboitiz Power.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I've earned 240% from that.
240%.
And it's still growing.
How long?
For a year.
A year?
Yes.
It's actually to
that's
echo what
3
he's
times
saying.
more.
That's right.
The 52-week. I mean, if you go a year, 52 weeks. The 52-week low of Aboitiz Power was around 8 pesos 20, around 8.20.
Okay.
It's now in the low 30s, 34, 35,
right.
low to mid 30s right now, and that's within 1 year. So again,
Ka-ching.
the amount that you would have needed, how much you would have needed around 8,000 pesos to start.
8,000
Yeah,
bucks?
8,000 pesos. You could have,
Whoa,
okay, 8,500, call it 8,500 earlier this year. If you had that amount, you could have bought into it. And right now, your 8,500 would be around 33,000. And you haven't done anything. You still have your job. You still do what you want. So I guess
Nice.
that's of course a rare thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen every year, but when it does,
It's a windfall.
yeah, it's really a windfall, and that's one thing that the market does bring you. Now, some people may say, "Well, Aboitiz Power, haven't really heard of it. It's something new." But even well-known companies have done very well this year. SM, the one that run all of the malls,
Yeah.
I mean, they've also done very, very well for the year. And even companies such as AGI, but again, that's not as well known. But of course, there are risks, like what he said. Even companies like Globe is actually down around 10% for the year.
Yeah, but in general,
In general, over time, they tend to make money. At least the good ones tend to make money. And if your target is only to beat the 1 to 2% that you are making right now,
yeah, you can. Do that.
it's a very, very viable option.
Okay, so I mean, okay. Before we move into why SMEs or the SME board, I just want to. So you're saying yes, there are stocks that can earn you big, and there are stocks that will be stable. But you mentioned also, fleetingly, you mentioned that that we have there are stocks that actually go down.
But yeah,
right?
yes, they do.
All right. So, I mean, how do you avoid these stocks? But before you answer that, I think we're going to go into a break. So just give a little bit of that, and then after the break, we'll go into the SME
Well,
board.
the first thing I guess would be to really examine the business that the company is in. I mentioned Globe earlier on that their stock has gone down for the year, and a big reason for that is that competition in the phone business is very, very intense. I mean, everyone who wants a cell phone pretty much has one at this point.
Or two.
Yeah, or two or three even in some cases. So profit margins are being squeezed. So they have to adjust and create new income streams for them to be able to once again be on the positive side of earnings.
Well, knowing them, it'll probably happen. Anyway, when we get back, we will be talking about the SME board. What's in it for you as an SME? All right? We'll be back after this. Thank you for coming back and watching. I'm Boom San Agustin. You're watching the Business Portal, and this is SME Forum. Well, we left the first half with a question, and now we have a text-in question from Ace of Caloocan. It just got in actually, and he interrupted my no. Okay, okay, Alvin, could you read the question, please?
I have a bad credit rating due to canceled unpaid credit cards when I was young. Will that affect my plans of investing in stocks? What if I fail the background investigation? Thanks,
Kendrick?
Ace, for the question.
All right.
Ace, thanks.
Ace.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kendrick.
thank you, Ace, for your question. No, there won't be any background investigation when you invest in the capital markets. Basically, as long as you have the money, okay, and that money is sourced through legal means, if I may add.
Okay. Make that clear, yes.
Yes, there's a disclaimer there. Sourced through legal means. Then you won't have any problems at all.
Okay, so
And I would encourage you to invest. Start investing now.
Yeah.
With as little as I mentioned, 8,500.
Actually, 5,000 you can
5,000,
start.
yes.
$5,000.
Even lower. Without
Okay, so $5,000 you can start investing.
Or-
Wait a minute, $5,000?
Yeah.
How
No,
is that? No, I think we're going into the SME board right now.
Yeah.
Okay, Aya, could you just give me a little bit an explanation how this 5,000 pesos comes into play in the
Well, the thing is, shares are issued in what we call lots. So you usually have to buy them in hundreds or tens, depending on the price. So actually, the figure is even lower. I just rounded it up to 5,000. But for example, Manila Water, the price is around 19 pesos at this point. It's actually sold in lots of 100, so you have to buy it by hundreds. So if you want to buy 100 shares of Manila Water at this point, you'd actually just need just under 2,000 pesos, and that's it. You now own 100 shares of Manila Water. So
why is it there's this thing that most Filipinos think about is that you have to have hundreds of thousands even.
Well, that's really one of the biggest misconceptions about the market. And whenever we conduct our seminars, and especially when I talk in schools, I encourage them because for that amount, I mean, earlier this year, you could have bought Manila Water for as low as 15, 16 pesos.
And now it's 19.
Now it's 19. So that is a decent return.
Yeah.
And they are a good company, and they are making money, giving cash dividends, etc. So you don't need to have that amount. It's really just a matter of understanding the market, knowing that it's there and what it can do. And I guess that's pretty much also both the issue with the SME board. Most people do not know that there is such a thing, that there is such a facility available for SME companies, and that they can enter the capital markets through that facility.
SMEs can be registered in the stock
Yes.
market.
Yes.
All right. Wait. You mentioned earlier during the break, Kendrick, that there are SME boards in other countries. Can
Yes,
you
that's
explain
right.
that? Yeah?
Yes. Last year, China's launch is Chinex. It's called Chinex. It's also an SME board. It's also listed in the Shenzhen Stock Exchange, where people can actually pick stocks from there, good stocks, and invest in that, and let it ride. And if it profits, the investor also profits from it.
Oh, okay. Wait. We have another texter in. Edna of Angeles City. Edna, hi. where can one best invest 100,000 at this point, considering all the considering all the investment vehicles available now? This is assuming that this money is saved and won't be needed for the next 5 years.
Wow.
Okay, so this money, itatabi na lang niya, 100,000, gusto niyang savings. Okay, how do you best grow that money? Let's ask Aya first.
Well, first I would ask the person how much risk they are willing to accept first and foremost. Because risk and return are very, very related. So time frame good, 5 years, there's time for the money to grow and everything. But if you are willing to accept moderate to high risk, then individually investing in certain stocks would be a good idea. If you don't want to accept those types of risk, there are what we call bond funds, where the risk is lower, but again, the returns, of course, are also lower.
Okay, wait, just to clarify a few things with regard to that question for Edna, there are many instruments, and basically what we're saying is that mostly in stocks and bonds, they are mostly managed by you. Okay, you get to decide somewhat how your investment is going to be managed. All right, but if you want to, you can actually contact these two people. Yeah. All right, they can help you make that decision for you. Okay, but we'll get to your proposals later.
All right.
All right. Now let's get back. The SME board. Okay, the SME board. What is it in effect, Aya?
Well, it was a facility created by the Philippine Stock Exchange years ago to encourage SMEs to list and become part of the stock exchange. So if you meet the requirements which are listed on and they're long, they're all listed on the PSE website.
Yes.
But if you meet all of them, you can have your company listed on the stock exchange. The bare minimums is that at least you should be making money already. I mean, you cannot list if you're just an idea and you're just a startup and that you. So they're not really too keen on those types of things. But if you are already making money and you would like to tap an alternative source of capital, then the SME board is there so that you can sell your company to the general public. I guess one thing that people may not know is that Mang Inasal was supposed to list on that SME board, but Jollibee took a look at it, said
and
that
boom.
no, I think we'll just buy you, or actually we'll just buy 70% of you for 3 billion, and that was it. But they were already slated
I heard it was 6
to
billion
consider
over time.
Well, at least the cash component at this point is about
Was
3
3
billion
billion.
for 70%.
Oh.
So
Yeah, that's not bad for a karinderya back in
for
Bohol.
if you think about it, that business was only started recently.
Yeah.
And it did start small, but it started making money already. So they decided to start, okay, maybe consider going to the SME. And if they had gone that route, they probably would have been very successful, especially since, hey, I mean, Jollibee just said, okay, we don't want you to list anymore. We'll just buy you since you're such a good firm. We'll just buy 70% of you and keep you off. So that
Okay,
can also
so
happen.
In this case, let's just say, what do you consider, and I'll ask both of you this, let's start with Kendrick. What do you consider are the advantage of, let's say I'm an SME, I fit the requirements, and then I can actually get into the there. What is my advantage for that?
Okay, number one, that's for expansion. Okay, the people now that you're listed, people will now be looking at you and potentially buy shares from your company. Okay, now you can use that capital, the additional funds, to put up
expand.
other branches. If you're Mang Inasal, for instance, you can put up other branches, or whatever you want to do with your money. Because there are two ways to raise capital. One is you actually issue bonds, no? Or where people you loan, people would lend you money and use that to expand, or you actually raise money through listing.
It's actually, for me, what you said, it's not really coming out as a loan,
Yes.
but more like people investing in you.
Yes, that's right.
Because if they lose the money, if the money goes on the go south.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. But if it does, it's an investment. It's also a risk, right? So nobody really runs after you with a hatchet or anything.
No, because that's an investment. Yeah.
All right. How about you, Aya?
Well,
there are a lot of
there are basically two, I guess, we have to first consider where you're approaching it from. I mean, if you are the owner of the SME, you would list, again, like you said, to raise additional capital, which is in some cases more advantageous than taking out a loan.
Yes.
And also you can think of it as giving your other partners an exit point so that you are able to operate better, because I believe one issue among SMEs sometimes is that a partner may want to leave.
Yes.
Yes, and then how do you properly value his shares in the company?
Yes.
Once you are listed, you do have a third party, in a sense, source. Okay, we say that, okay, our share is worth 2 pesos. You own X amount. So if you want to leave our business, you can sell it in the open market, or you can sell it to me, and we know what the price should be. So that is an advantage. It gives you liquidity.
Okay.
So I guess that is one reason why, because I do know that sometimes that becomes an issue, that there's 5 of you, you start a business, it does well, one of you wants to get out, but how do you then value his shares in the company, and who will buy it? If there is no market, then you have to physically start looking around for people, which is, I guess, what happens. You start looking, do you want to buy this? Of course, you first go to your partners. What if they don't want to buy you out? At least you have that exit point available.
It's a good exit point, and it assures continuity of the business as well. Okay, we have another texter. Hi, I am Rainier. Can you read that, Alvin?
I'm Rainier. Can you explain the percentage of the different stocks? What that means, and if I buy, how can I assure that my dividend is correct?
Okay. So I guess he is asking about the dividend percentages. Normally, when a company declares a dividend, whether cash or stock, they will say it's a percentage. So if they say it's a 10% stock dividend, if you had 100 shares by what they call the X date or the cutoff date, if you have 100 shares, then you will get 10 shares. And this will usually be added to you about a month after. Same thing with cash. If they say we will give you a 5 peso cash dividend, 5 pesos times the number of shares that you have, that's the amount of cash you will receive, less, I think, about 10% withholding tax or so. So to find out how much you are eligible for, if you have the certificates, all you have to do is total up your certificates and multiply it by either the percentage that was declared or the cash that was declared. If you have a broker, then you have to ask your broker for a statement as to whether you were eligible and how much you were eligible for.
Okay. In other words, it's a very long explanation. All right. What I'm saying is that we don't have enough time on the show for this, right? For the details. But like I said, if they want to contact you, Aya, for instance, or you, Kendrick, could you just mention your numbers pretty quickly right now?
You can call GIC at 994-7424.
Okay.
And we do have regular seminars. Well, not so much now December because of all the Christmas parties and stuff, but January we will have a regular series again. So you can just call us, 994-7424.
994-7424. And how about you, Kendrick?
Well, they can visit my blog. Okay, it's http
Wealth Warrior.
www.thewealthwarrior.net. Note it's .net because a lot of people are looking for .com. It's not mine. It's .net, and you can drop me a line there.
That's The Wealth Warrior.
The
Wealth Warrior. Okay.
Incidentally, you mentioned about the Chinese market, the
go ahead.
Chinese board, and by the way, he teaches Chinese. So if you want to understand that market, you can consult him as well.
Yeah, well, okay. There are a lot of investment instruments. Okay, anyway, let's get back to how do you get, okay, I'm convinced it's a great way to expand my business. It's a great way to hedge. It's also a great way to ensure continuity. So how, if I am an SME, I mean, which I am right now, what are the requirements for me to get in?
Well, you could visit the PSE website. All the legal requirements are there. But again, at the very least,
Maybe a few, just a few.
Most important is you should already be making money. That's the core.
Okay.
You should be making money already, and I think at least for 1 year you should be already be making money. You should be able to show that you will be making money. That the money you earned wasn't just because you sold a one-time thing, and that there
so
has to be
cash
that
flow.
Yeah, there has to be a very, very positive cash flow at the very least, and you should also comply with the other. There are quite a number of legal requirements that the PSE asks also, and there are also some minor fees that you should be willing to shoulder. It's not a lot. Plus, there is a minimum amount of your company that you should sell to the public. I mean, you can't just go and say, okay, I will only sell 5% of my company to the public. There is a minimum, again, depending on your size and a few other things, but it's all detailed there.
All right.
And the thing is, it may seem daunting at the beginning, but at the end of the day, given the benefits that you can get from it, it is at the very least worth exploring.
And it's worth the work, I suppose.
Yes.
All right. So, Kendrick, is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Well, I personally, with regards to investing in the stock market,
go ahead. Yeah.
It's really a viable instrument. Forget about the hearsays that you're gonna lose money. Yes, you may lose money. You can potentially lose money.
The exception.
That's the exception. But as long as you invest in good, solid companies, you're bound to make money in the long run.
Okay, so let's look at our tip box right now. Let's enter the tip box right now. Now, this tip box is for SMEs who want to register in the stock market, okay? Here, actually, I will have to admit, I didn't put all the rules. Like ISS, if you look there, it's pretty daunting. A lot of rules, okay?
Now, you spend sleepless nights doing
it's a lot. Yeah, but it's a lot. It's like 7 pages of rules, okay? But here are, for me, the most important rules right now for you if you want to, or important criteria if you want to get into the SME board of the stock market. First of all, they look at your integrity, okay, and reputation, capability. Well, according to some people, they actually probably don't look at it that well, but if integrity helps. Integrity helps. If you are probably a wetting lord, it will not work for you. All right. So, and then also the companies have to prepare. It has to present growth. Okay, it has to present further growth and profitability, like ISS, cash flow. So that is the best way to prove that. Viability, same again, cash flow with the earning stream. And then, of course, a lack of conflict of interest. What is that, Aya?
Well, it just may be that the business you are in and the people who are running it may sort of have conflicts. Like, okay, you are a business, but 90% of your business actually comes just from one director, or you have just things on the way you are structured. Because,
so it
like
has
you
to be
said,
a corporation.
Yeah, it has to be a corporation because you are incorporating already. And the key point there is, again, they just want to also protect the public from businesses wherein they're just being used as fronts, that all of the business actually just comes from one individual, or is really not viable in the long run, such that if they lose one client, there goes 80% of their income. Those are the things that the PSE wants to minimize, because of course if that one client leaves, then all of the shareholders suddenly suffer. And again, I think one of the things there that has to be mentioned is there is a minimum that you have to sell to the public. And you can buy it back later on, but there is a minimum that you have to sell to the public when you initially list.
Okay, what else are the requirements? Can we show the other part of the tip box again, please?
There.
Okay, so there we have it. You have to be operational for at least 1 year. Okay, the company should have
positive net operating income.
Yeah, should provide net operating income. Okay, during its financial year, and then the company should have a net tangible asset of 5 million. Okay, that means you have to have like cars. If you have a car or a delivery truck,
or an
all in office.
Yes.
All the assets have to at least total 5 million. Yes. Okay, the next page, please. And these are the fees. Here. You have to have an
minimum authorized capital.
Yeah, minimum authorized capital of 20 million.
and the
Okay.
maximum also of 100 million. That's
Yeah.
why it's to fit into the SME.
Yeah, because
layer.
100 million, lower than that, sir. Right. It's an SME already.
Yeah, 20 to, that's why SME, 20 to 100 million. If you
Uh-huh.
are over 100 million, then you don't really qualify to be an SME anymore.
Anyway, that might be daunting, 20 million, may 20 million ba ako? Actually, that's authorized stock.
Yes, yes.
That's not the paid up capital. Okay, the paid up capital will probably be in the 2 million range right now. Okay, now let's go to the fees that you have to pay. You have to pay 20K outright. Okay, that's you have to prepare that. 50K for the listing fees, and every year you have to pay 100 pesos for every 1 million of market capitalization that you have, but not lower than 20K, right? And not higher than 200K. Okay, so for that, here we have another
Yeah,
texter.
we have a Pablo question.
Yes.
Hi, Rain here. Please give me the website of Mr. Kendrick Chua again.
Okay.
Or your contact number. So the website again is?
Okay, it's thewealthwarrior.net. THEWEALTH WARRIOR.net.
Okay, so it's Wealth Warrior. Warrior. Okay?
The Wealth Warrior.
The Wealth Warrior
.net.
for Kendrick Chua. Okay? And of course, Aya, your company again, just maybe they have a website
It's
also?
you can reach us at 994-7424, and our website is www.gicphil.com. And of course, you can also catch me every every Monday at
Monday,
9:30,
right, just before our
just
show.
before the show. If you
Right, okay.
would like to follow the stock market,
Uh-huh.
and especially since we're in very interesting times, I have to reiterate that in spite of 2008 happening, we've actually surpassed the 2007 highs. We are at all-time highs.
Wow.
So while the rest of the world has been down,
because in the lows,
we have been doing very, very well. And
Greek tragedy and all
yeah,
that.
indications are it will still continue. So I hope that you also tune into that. If you have any questions, you can ask it to me there as well.
Okay, so I think there's one more coming in.
While
Okay.
it's being
While it's
flashed,
being-
I'd like to encourage everyone to visit our Facebook page. In case you have questions, in case you're viewing this at a replay, visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/SME Forum.
Okay.
Like that page
Yes,
and
please
ask
like
questions.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Facebook/SME Forum. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Right. All right. Okay, so we're still waiting for the text to actually be.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Somebody subscribed to Aboitiz Equity Venture during the 1994 IPO, but he never received a stock certificate until now. What should he do to get the stock certificate?
Okay.
The
Okay,
correct,
so-
And the correct information, of course.
the correct stock and cash.
The first thing that has to be determined is how did you subscribe? Did you subscribe through a broker, or did you subscribe directly to the underwriter at that time?
Okay.
Since this was in 1994, the procedure was a bit different. The easiest thing to do would be to write the transfer office of Aboitiz. To find out who the transfer office is, you can check the PSE website. The transfer office is listed there, or the Aboitiz Equity Venture website. And you can write them and call to see if there was actually a stock certificate that was issued in your name and is still outstanding. And they can help you with, because it's a long, convoluted process, because the
Well, I think there's a
Okay,
follow-up
here we
to
go.
that. I mean,
For the
according to AEV, they have correct owner registered
okay.
in their files. Now, how can this
well,
person...
there we go. So again, you have to go to the transfer office, and you will have to ask them to issue a new one. If you don't have it, but as of their books you were given, that means that it was somehow lost in the mail in 1994, or someone basically failed to give it to you. But that's the easiest thing now. You go to the transfer office, ask them for the procedure to declare that one lost, to issue a new one, and ask them as well for a record of all cash and stock dividends that you are entitled to, because all of those checks, especially the cash, if it was not cashed in, will go back to them.
Okay.
So you can claim those also, but there won't be any interest on those dividends. Okay.
Okay,
fine.
thank you, Aya. That was from Andrew of Mandaluyong.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. Need more, just contact Aya. So we've come to the end of another
Yeah.
show, and it's
Very
bitin na
quick.
naman, ha? Okay, okay. So, as usual, I will leave you with this. Business is not about perfection. It's about connection. I'm Boom San Agustin. In behalf of Alvin Tan, this was SME Forum on the Business Portal.